And so this week what I'd like to focus on is our perception of others. Yeah, so this is really important because if we think about a lot of the problems that we have, we tend to feel that they're due to other people, due to other people's behaviour. I could be a lot happier, I could be a lot peaceful, I could be much more productive, etc. if it wasn't for other people. They just really do get in the way. And it's so difficult, isn't it, with them, because they don't really do what we want. And we sort of know what's right for them, but they don't really listen, and they sort of do their own thing, and it's really quite annoying, and it causes a lot of distress for us because it creates work for us in lots of different ways. Or people are always behaving so emotionally, aren't they? You notice that about people? And so with all these sort of different emotions that they have, they're a little bit unpredictable. So we never quite know, when we see the people in our lives, who it is we're going to be seeing that day. Yeah? So, for example, you might plan to meet someone looking forward to seeing them, but when they turn up, they've got that look in their eye, and you sort of think, oh dear, this isn't going to be easy, is it? Yeah, they've got that look. Yeah, so you think, oh no. You can just see they're a little bit, angry, a little bit irritated, a little bit emotional, or whatever. So being with people is quite unpredictable because we never quite know what's in store for us with them. And it doesn't really matter how well we think we know them. We don't really know them that well because we can't predict really their behaviour. People are definitely unpredictable and emotional and sometimes pretty horrid. Then on the other side of it, they can be incredibly kind and supportive and all the other things that we like. So if we're going to have a more positive approach to life, well, how are we going to cope with all this lot then? Because there we are going in to be positive, and all these people are just going to be carrying on in their normal, unpredictable way. And we're going to come into the office or come into the family trying to be positive, and they're like really negative. And the more positive we are, the crosser they get with us. So it's like, so how are we going to cope with this? It's almost like we're set to fail, aren't we? Because in the end, we think, oh, well, that's it. I might as well just be miserable too. I'll just give up. And we find that we start mirroring their behaviour and getting angry back, and the whole idea of being positive, we've forgotten it. So we need, we can't change them. And anybody who thinks that they can change other people, good luck, keep going. But eventually I think we hit a point where we realise we cannot change other people. We cannot make them into the people that we want them to be so that our life is easier. So we've got to become positive in spite of their behaviour. Regardless of their behaviour, we've got to be able to train ourselves to have peaceful minds. So how do we do this? How do we change our perspective of others? So Buddha gives us a few suggestions, ways to help us to do this, lots and lots of different suggestions, and I'm just going to go through a few this evening. So one of them is, we need to, when people are acting in certain ways that we don't find very pleasant, and they're saying stuff, and we can see that they're angry, or they're frustrated, or they're jealous, or whatever, you can just see their behaviour. And normally we might retaliate to that by getting angry back, or getting unhappy back, or whatever. What we need to do is we need to be quite clear in our own mind of the person and the delusion that they're experiencing, rather than mixing the two. Yeah, because so if someone's in front of me and they're getting angry, and generally, the people who annoy us and who we have difficulty with the most are the people who are closest to us. So we've got people with us, friends, family, etc., who we love, but they start being very annoying. They get very angry with us. Yeah. So what we see then is an angry person, don't we? We think, oh, it's this angry person, okay? And we then relate to what appears to be an angry person. So what we've got to do, we've got to be a little bit skillful here. And what we've got to think is that this person is not an angry person. They are just a person with anger in their mind. I know that sounds, a little bit like we're just playing with words, but there is a difference there. Because in thinking like that, what we're saying is that this person before me, who is causing me problems at the moment, they're not inherently bad and they're not inherently good. They've just got all sorts of thoughts, all sorts of different minds that flow through their mind continuously. And with each one, it has an influence of them. So when they have negative minds, they're under the influence of negative minds. And it's very similar. If someone's before you and they're very drunk and they're being very silly, and you're not drunk, and they're just being silly, you think to yourself, oh, it's just a drunk person, don't we? We associate, well, it's because they're under the influence of this alcohol that they're acting like that. Yeah. So we sort of understand that, so we don't necessarily blame the person. Yeah. So it's a similar thing. What we're thinking is that under the influence of this negative mind, it's got a hold of them. Now we need to think they wouldn't choose to have it. Because nobody chooses, nobody wants negative minds. Nobody thinks, right, I'm going to wake up on Monday and I'm going to have a negative mind at 10 o'clock. We don't think that. I'm going to invite all my friends and family around and I'm going to get really negative and angry with them. That'd be lovely. I think we'll do that Wednesday. Right, so we don't plan these negative minds. They don't plan them. Yeah. So, and there is a difference here. So what we think is this person is under the influence of this negative mind. Yeah. And whilst they're under the influence of that mind, it is taking control of them. And it's causing them suffering. So there's a difference there. So we then naturally feel kinder towards them.